Sorry, but you also talked about unit cohesion, and that's exactly the same kind of argument that they made against integrating the military when Harry Truman did it. I'm sorry, it's the same argument. Okay. It's the same.
I mean, is she wrong about that, though? Okay. I mean, she is right about that.
People who did not want to serve
I'm aware.
White people didn't want to serve black people because of unit cohesion. So now you're saying gay people shouldn't serve with straight people.
We only have a couple seconds. Shermichael, I see that you're frustrated that she made that argument, but is she wrong that unit cohesion was used as an excuse to keep the military segregated for a long time?
I think we should
and also don't ask, don't tell when it comes to discriminating against gay and lesbian people.
We should focus on the issue at hand. That's what I think.
Same argument.
But no, we should focus on the issue.
Discriminating against gay and lesbian people.
We should focus on the issue at hand. That's what I think.
Same argument.
But no, we should focus on the issue at hand. I don't know why we keep going to bringing up race. Let's just focus on the issue at hand.
Look, it's race, sexual orientation. We've seen this twice, right? In two major junctures for the military. I'm just wondering if she is drawing parallels here between the arguments that are being made to maintain this policy.
I reject those parallels. That's my answer. I reject the parallels. I think they're ludicrous parallels.
Do you feel like you had a choice in your life as to what you were going to do? Or no, of course not.
No.
The same way that I didn't have a choice to be born who I was, the same way you didn't have a choice to be born who you were. So why do we get exclusions and she doesn't?
I didn't say that Elena should be excluded.
Okay, why under this president's policy?
My opinion here is let it work itself through the court system.
And I have no problem with that, but just don't fire people while it's working through the courts. That's what these injunctions were doing, was letting it work through the courts. And the Supreme Court, I think, really just delegitimized itself even further today. And I think that's a challenge for all of this country when we don't have the checks and balances of the courts, checking the executive power, and Congress checking the executive power, and all of those things. Because at the end of the day, right now in the military, you can be a white supremacist, a known white supremacist, and serve in this military, but you cannot be transgender and serve in this military. That's a fact.
Hey, good afternoon, YouTube. Happy Wednesday. So you guys just basically seen that clip. And so the clip is, of course, from Abby Phillips tonight. And the conversation was, they were having a conversation about Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump basically banning trans people from serving in our military, right? So you see Shermichael gets so upset he starts to curse. And I want to break this down for you guys. I think the reason that things are so difficult for Shermichael, I keep telling you guys, he's battling within. Shermichael knows he's playing for the wrong team. Shermichael knows that this is bigotry. That's the reason he's so conflicted. In another clip, you're going to see Shermichael basically say, why do we have to talk about race? I'm going to tell you why it's imperative to talk about race. We live in a country that was built off the backs of slaves. We live in a country that was built off racism, systematic oppression, and all of those things. So when you are in a country that was basically built off of those things, you have to know that the systems in this country was created with those things in mind. Race and a black person being 3/5 of a person. It's the reason that race is involved in everything, because that's the way our country was created. It was created from the perspective that some people were less than. Some people are like slaves and they only work, and other people profit from those things. That's the country we live in. That's how it was created. That's how it was built. So when Shermichael is saying, why do we have to talk about race? I think this is a thing with black conservatives. Black conservatives, in order for them to justify and stomach supporting somebody like Donald Trump, they have to kind of suppress and ignore racism. They got to suppress and ignore systematic oppression. They almost have to believe that these things are not real in order for them to be able to support someone like Donald Trump. It's the reason Shermichael gets so angry the minute you talk about race, because he don't have a justification. He don't have a real analysis or argument for these things. This woman basically said in this clip, she was saying Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth basically banning trans people, the same argument which was like unit, I think it was unit cohesion, the same argument was given to like basically justify the segregation of black and white service members. That same argument, they were basically saying, white service members was basically saying they didn't want to serve with black people. It was unit cohesion. This is the same argument that is being used to ban trans people from serving in our military. So that is the reason that they're bringing up race. It's because the same justification and argument is being used to ban trans people as it was to segregate black and white people in the military. So Shermichael gets so upset, and it's like, why are you upset? You know why he's upset? Because he's in conflict with himself. You know why he's upset? Because it's difficult to swallow and justify what you're doing when you know it's wrong. Now, there's been, apparently they've done the analysis, they've done the research. There is no reason in regards to readiness or productivity or safety, there is no reason to assume that trans people make our military less safe, that trans people make our military less productive. There's no research that shows that. There's no analysis that speaks to that. So what Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth is doing is straight bigotry. That's all it is. It's, we don't like trans people. We don't understand trans people. And so we don't want them to serve in our military. Think about this. Anybody that's willing to fight and die for this country, as long as they are not a criminal, they should be able to serve. Because I'm not going to the army. I'm not going to the military. So I respect immensely anybody that's willing to fight and serve and die for our country. And the fact that our president and our Secretary of Defense finds value in telling certain people that they can't serve their country because they don't agree with the way they identify, it's wrong. And Shermichael knows it's wrong. And it's the reason he gets so upset, because he's in conflict with himself. That's the reason why he literally cursed. The minute the lady said, she was like, it was the same argument. It's called unit cohesion or whatever. This shit again. Shermichael don't normally talk like that. He's in conflict. You're watching a person that's in conflict with themselves, a person that is battling within themselves. Because why are you so upset? We're having a conversation. What's the problem? What you mad for? What you mad for? Why are you mad? Why are you upset? Why are you upset? I always tell you guys this. If you understand your argument, if you believe in your argument, if you standing 10 toes down in your argument, what you yelling for? What you mad for? What you cursing for? He's cursing and he's mad because he's in conflict internally. He's in conflict with himself. And that's the reason the minute the lady basically said, this is the same argument. These were the same justifications that were used to segregate black service people and white service people. He instantly gets mad because he knows that the correlation and the comparison is there and he can't justify it. And that's why he gets mad. Because I'm telling you guys, I've been watching Shermichael for years. Shermichael knows better. But he's going along to get along. And another thing I think is happening, because when he's, with this shit again, Shermichael don't talk like that. I think somebody's definitely putting a battery in his back. 100%. Because where all this aggression come from? What you so mad for? What are you so mad? The minute the woman basically said, this is the same argument used, he was so irritated. And they've had discussions on this show that were way more intense that you would think will bother him. And he sit there, he'd be as cool as can be. But the minute someone says something about race, he gets upset because he's in conflict with himself. And he can't justify it. He can't rationalize it away. And that's the reason he gets so upset and gets so beside himself. He was so indignant. It's like, what is your problem? You battling. You're in turmoil internally, and you don't like the way it makes you feel when you have to justify bigotry, because that's what you're doing. He kept basically, he and Scott, they both was like, it's the president's prerogative. Yeah, of course it is. The president controls the military. Well, he don't control the military, but he's the president. It's his prerogative, but do you believe it's morally sound? Do you believe it's right? We're not talking about whether or not he can do it. He did it, which is an indication and an illustration that he can do it. Yeah, he did it. Yeah, he can do it. But what we're asking is, are you okay? And do you find that it's righteous for him to do it? And neither one of them could say yes, because they know it's wrong. Anybody who's willing to serve this country, fight for this country, and die for this country should be appreciated and accepted and like applauded. Because like I said, I'm not gonna do it. So the fact that we are now telling people, yes, I understand you want to fight and advocate for your country and you're willing to die for your country, but we don't want you because we don't like the way you identify. It's wrong. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on regarding trans, it doesn't even matter. We're talking about a person serving their country. And like I said, there's already been analysis, there's already been research that showed there is no reason to do this. Being a trans person don't make you less safe, less productive. There is nothing about being trans that makes you not ready or not good enough to serve in our military. There's no statistics, no stats, no nothing that shows that. There's no research, no analysis, nothing that shows that being a trans person somehow make you less of a soldier or makes you less productive or less able to fight. Nothing shows that. So the only reason they're doing this is just straight bigotry.
What is the difference between, prohibiting certain groups like transgender people from serving versus, people based on their race or even their gender, frankly?
I personally think there's a difference, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, I will say...
Do you believe that race and... Are you saying that the quality of race and the quality of transgender are the same?
I'm just asking the question because I think you're making there's a distinction, but you're not explaining why.
No, I'm asking, you guys brought up the hypothetical. Are you arguing that someone's race is the same as someone choosing to become transgender?
But your argument, you've made the argument twice that the Commander-in-Chief's opinion is all that matters. You've said that twice now.
Well, so under the Constitution, yes.
So if he wakes up tomorrow and says it's not okay to be gay or lesbian and serve, because that's his opinion, there's nothing to back that up. They meet the physical standards, they meet the intellectual standards, they have voluntarily decided to serve their country, to give their life for this country. So many of us don't have to. That it's the opinion without any basis in fact, that's what matters more than the Constitution of equal rights and equal protection.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the other thing, or there's a few things that bother me about this, and mostly it was the language of the policy, right? When you're reading at some of these words, transgender people as inherently untruthful, undisciplined, dishonorable. That's like a very weighty thing to say about people who are courageously deciding to protect this country. The other problem, Scott, is that it's never enough. It's bathrooms today. It's sports today. It's sports tomorrow. It's the military today.
No, it's also sports today, by the way.
Yeah, it is sports today.
And 80% of Americans agree, by the way.
Oh, that's fine. And 80%, guess what? The majority sometimes is wrong. That also happens, right? Because the majority used to believe that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was somebody who was a threat, that somebody who was not a good American. The majority of people used to be against civil rights. Were they right? No, they weren't. And so the whole point is when you target one group, and inevitably that line moves to everybody else. And I'm not saying he's coming for black people tomorrow, but considering that this is a military or this is a leadership that is already using DEI as code word for black people already when it comes to the military, suddenly when you don't protect the most vulnerable, you wind up making it worse for everybody else that's in the margin.
So you guys seen that clip. So let's talk about the last statement that was made, because to me that was pretty powerful. The woman said you can be a transgender and you cannot serve in our military, but you can be a known white supremacist and you can serve in our military. We on the wrong side of things as a nation. I'm on the right side, I believe. I believe I'm on the right side because I believe, I told you guys before, regarding the trans topic, I don't understand it. I've never felt like I was anything other than who I am and what I am. But just because I don't understand something doesn't mean I have a right to judge it, ostracize it, criticize it, scrutinize it. It's not my place. It's the same way I feel about people who are gay, LGBTQ. As long as you are a decent person, I don't care what you do in your bedroom. I don't care how you identify. That's not my business. It's not my place. Who am I to tell you how to identify and what you feel internally? Who am I to tell you who to love and who to go to bed with? That's not my place. So regarding transgender people, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. But because I don't understand it doesn't give me the right to say it's not real and I'm going to be against it. I don't have an opinion. I believe my opinion is this regarding this topic. If you love this country enough to fight and die for it, you should be welcomed with open arms. Because like I said before, there is nothing that shows being transgender make you less of a soldier, make you less strong, less productive, less safe. Nothing shows that. So why ostracize these people? Why? Bigotry and hatred. That's it. That's all that it is. And regarding Shermichael, you see him get so upset because, like I said, Shermichael is battling within. Shermichael, I've been telling you guys for a while, I don't believe Shermichael. I don't believe him. I believe he's going along to get along. I believe that he's a Trump supporter because of convenience and because of fear. Because the fact that the minute Abby was she basically articulated it completely. She said, well, Shermichael, why is she wrong? You keep saying he kept acting so indignant. He kept acting like it was so ridiculous to compare these two things. But the same justification was used. So why is it ridiculous? It's ridiculous to you because you can't justify it. You can't rationalize it away. And you want to be able to because you are supporting Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth and you know that it's wrong. And so you just want to act so indignant like it's the worst thing in the world instead of being able to actually speak to the actual issue. Shermichael need a little therapy. We all need a little therapy. But it's like I was watching and I'm like, he's so mad. Like, oh, why are you mad? He seems so irritated about just facts. And it's like, why are you irritated? Because you are in conflict with yourself. So let's take a look at this clip because I want to talk about Scott Jennings and how he debates and argues intellectually, like he's intellectually dishonest with his arguments. And I want to give you guys an example. He do it all the time, but I found this example in this clip because this was a part of the show. And so I kind of want to speak to you guys about this thing that Scott does that I think is so disingenuous, but I mean, that's his only play. So that's why he do it. So we'll talk about it on the other side. Take a look at this.
Wind up making it worse for everybody else that's in the marginalized
community.
You don't think trans people are vulnerable in this country?
So is it your position that the commander-in-chief should recruit people who you're describing as vulnerable into the lethal fighting force?
He should recruit people who want to serve.
You see what he did? And he think he's like being smart, and it's like, who taught you to debate? Because you're not good at it. So this is what he did. What Jamil Hill was basically saying, she referred to trans people as being vulnerable. We know that vulnerable means people who are marginalized, people who are being targeted, people who the administration are going after. But what Scott did is try to equate vulnerability with strength. So he goes, you want our president to keep people in the military that you are saying that are vulnerable? And it's like, Scott, sweetie, I know Scott has people who believe he's smart. Makes me nervous for our nation, but he has people who believe he's smart. What he just did was so intellectually dishonest and disingenuous, and it was a very elementary debate tactic. It's basically to obfuscate. It's to make people look over here instead of look right here. So what he does is, oh, you want our president to keep people in the military that's vulnerable? We all know that when someone says that a community is vulnerable, we're talking about people who are marginalized. We're talking about people who are targeted. We're talking about people who are harassed or just basically targeted. We're not talking about intelligence or readiness or strength or the ability to be productive or the ability to fight in our military. That's not what we're talking about. And you know that's not what she was talking about. But what you wanted to do is you wanted to go this way instead of have the conversation. And the reason you wanted to have the conversation is because your goal is not to educate the public. Your goal is not to be productive in a debate. Your goal is to try to win the argument, even if winning the argument is to obfuscate, instead of actually talking about the issue at hand. I think Scott is terrible. And the fact that there's people who think that he's like this great debater and he's so great makes me nervous for our nation, because he does stuff like this all the time because he don't have an argument. Like when you don't have an argument and when you're debating, I'm a person I can debate with the best of them. I can argue with a wall. But when you run out of things to say, what you do is your goal becomes to throw the other person off, because now you're running out of steam. And it's a tactic that people use. It's a tactic that people teach you to use. But for me, it's like, I know what I'm talking about. So I don't need to do all that. I don't need to, because it's like, I know what I'm talking about and I can stand in it. I don't need to try to trick you and just kind of zinger you or try to obfuscate and get you to go in another direction. I don't need to do that, but he does it a lot. Watch Scott. The minute that he's like running out of steam, it's like, oh yeah, well, you want our president, or he does that, or it's like, he hides behind, well, the president can do it. He can. But how do you justify the righteousness of it? What's your debate regarding it? So yeah, he can ban trans. Right now, the Supreme Court is allowing him to ban trans people from the military. Yes, he can do that right now. But the question wasn't whether he can do it or not, because he already did it. That's not a conversation to be had. He already did it. So we don't need to talk about that. We're asking you your opinion on it and whether or not you think it's righteous or it's right. And, well, he could do it. Okay. Nobody said he couldn't. That's why we're having a conversation. So I'm like, every time I watch Scott, I'm like, yeah, he ain't as smart as people say. And the people that think he's brilliant, y'all make me nervous for our nation. Because when I see right through him all the time, like I'm telling you, Scott has like a couple of tricks in his bag. It's either he get indignant and he want to yell, or he's the president, he won the election. In November, the country said he can do it. He has like a couple little tricks. It's not much to him. He has a couple little things, his little go-tos, and then he sit back and just look all indignant like he's angry. And people are like, yeah, Scott is a great debater. I'm like, child. Y'all, okay. I'm working on not calling people stupid. So I'm going to stop there. I have some more clips, but I kind of wanted to speak to, more so than anything, I wanted to speak to how indignant Shermichael got, how angry he was. And I think it's something that happens with Black conservatives. I think because they have to act like race doesn't play a part in anything, when you start talking about race, they become almost uncomfortable, and like Shermichael in particular, because it's some Black conservatives, they would try to argue, and you like, God bless your testimony. Go on about your business. Okay, fine. But with Shermichael, you can see him battling. Anytime they talk about race, like he literally start cursing, and it's like, why are you so angry? No, and people can say, oh, well, because it's, CNN and, you have people that's like going against him. But he and Anna, when they had their debate, that was way more contentious, and that was way more intense than this. This was just people just basically saying, well, the same argument, the same justification was used to segregate Black servicemen and white servicemen, and he know that is true, and that's why he was battling. And we got it with this. Okay, so just, if you believe that it's ridiculous, just speak to it. Just present your argument. But he didn't have an argument to present because he knows it's true. So he was like, I just feel like we shouldn't talk about that. Well, that's not your call. This is not your show. We're talking about it. Give your perspective. You can't because you're battling and you know it's wrong. So that is my commentary regarding this episode of Abby Phillips Tonight. I'm going to be making another video for you guys regarding, because like I told you guys before, I am going to cover the Puffy trial. And so I'm putting a video together regarding the Puffy trial. So that will be the next video. I will either post a video today or very early in the morning. But you guys have a phenomenal day. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you guys either later tonight or tomorrow. Bye.